Give God something to amplify. Mighty things from small beginnings grow. John Dryden. My mother once took me to a marketplace to sell second-hand furniture. Noticing that I was embarrassed, she said to me, "You must stop to conquer. Get rid of your pride and let's do what puts food and school fees on the table. When you have those fancy qualifications, then you can look for jobs in newspapers." Give God something to amplify. Start something small and start today. Unless you have the humility to start small and forget about your degrees, other than the knowledge they give you, you will not do the things that build capital. Women like my mother worked the markets, saved every penny, and built themselves up until they sent people like me to study overseas. That's where you should draw your inspiration, and not on the hope of someone coming to save us by whatever title. If you wait for someone to create the right environment, facilities, good policies, you might be waiting a very, very long time. I coined the phrase, as entrepreneurs, we fight to build our businesses and build our lives in the conditions, not against the conditions we happen to find ourselves in. Once you get into the mindset that governments or donors must do something to make the conditions better, then you are paralyzed from taking any steps to solve problems. Everything is also relative. Someone in South Africa thinks the conditions are terrible, but someone in Liberia would say what amazing opportunities they have. If I start comparing conditions of America with conditions in Africa, all I will manage to do is organize a self-pity party, and by evening, some of you will be planning to cross the Sahara Desert. Believe that God allowed me to tackle some of the worst obstacles so that I can one day say to you, you can start and prosper even in the worst conditions. Even without a cent of capital to your name, you can start. So how to get started solving any problem as an entrepreneur? 1. You need to actually understand the problem. Being able to see a problem and even commenting about it is not the level of understanding necessary to emerge with entrepreneurial solutions. You read, you study, you look at what others have done or are already doing to try to solve it. Africa is so big, the likelihood that someone else out of 1.3 billion people is also looking at it is very high. That's okay. Imagining solutions is one thing and a good start. Then you must take the next step, of course, with the 3 P's in mind. 2nd, understand the solutions that are already being tried by others. See if yourself can contribute to the solution think. 3. Start small. Practical people are always those looking for a way to start small on a big problem. Even if you believe that God will use you to solve a big problem, as I do, then you will know from scripture that He likes you to pitch up with something in your hand, like the little boy with the fishes and the bread that fed 5,000. Now someone of you have asked me here recently if I think schools should add entrepreneurship to the classroom curriculum as early as grade school. Why not? Ideally, of course, the answer is yes, but the sad fact is there is already a shortage of science and maths teachers and many other subjects too. Where would national education departments find enough excellent entrepreneurship teachers? It's food for thought and worth considering. But why not first start at home without changing school curriculum? Introducing a solution-seeking mindset can start very young. If you are a parent or teacher, for example, talk to your kids at whatever age like my mom talked to me at that marketplace. All of you here know what an entrepreneur IT mindset is by now. Even as our communities and nations struggle deeply to put this pandemic behind us, please urge your kids, both boys and girl children, to look through to the other side of problems, to imagine solutions even as children, and never be too proud or too fearful to start very small, right where they are, even while they may already be riding big unicorns in their dreams. Solution seekers, entrepreneur IT, mask up. You are not through this yet. Do your own part. This is urgent. I know for sure what we dwell on is who we become. Oprah Winfrey. One day, the people who didn't believe in you will tell everyone how they met you. Imagine yourself a year from now, having successfully managed the challenge. What did you specifically do to transform the challenge into an opportunity? How did you leverage what was within your control to grow the business? What parts were you not controlling that you did eventually control? Who was a source of help, and what help did they provide? What generated gratefulness and appreciation? This quote is from an article suggesting a few ways to stay focused during tough times. One quality that you need as an entrepreneur: patience. If you are going to succeed at anything as an entrepreneur, you will need patience, lots and lots of it. I cannot stress enough everything I have tried to show you. There is also an implicit message about the importance of patience. Yes, I know that in America, young entrepreneurs can create multi-billionaire businesses almost overnight. That is good, and I hope it happens to some of you. But that is not going to be the case for 99% of you, and you should have the humility to accept that. In Africa, where the economies are smaller and the incomes so low, it requires a huge amount of skill and tenacity on a much greater scale than in America. This you must accept. Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson, whom we watched over the last few weeks, are masterclass entrepreneurs, but yet those are ventures 20 years in the making. I started a business that is now Liquid Intelligent Technologies in 1998. It would be more than 15 years before the first investor believed in what I was trying to do with it. And now global investors have turned it into the largest business in my group. Patience, patience, patience. 3 years ago, I invited you to let you follow as I developed Society's patient hard work by a team that is now more than 100 people. It could be another 5 to 10 years even, but that is how it works. Sadly, I watched some of you lose interest in what I was teaching on it. After only a few months, it is a form of impatience, and if you display it in your own venture, it will hurt you. You are going to be middle-aged or even older when it finally happens. For most of you, to accelerate it, accelerate your entrepreneurial knowledge acquisition. The best advice I ever got from a top government official. He was a highly respected permanent secretary and one of the most senior officials in the whole government. Through a relative, I managed to get an audience with him. I explained to him what I did and all the things I hoped the government could do for me. Then he looked at me with an intense fondness. He then whispered, "Don't come here again. Go and do your things. Just don't break any laws. If you get used to coming here for all your solutions, it will end up badly for you. I am not here for family and friends. I am here for the whole country. Then he showed me out the door. At first I was angry, confused, and a little embarrassed, but over time I appreciated his advice. If all our civil servants and political leaders did the same, our continent would be transformed overnight. Don't do favors for family and friends, do favors for the whole country. He is now dead, but I consider him the model civil servant. You will never succeed at anything if you are not prepared to learn from those who have actually done it successfully. During the Olympic Games of 2008, I had a VIP pass, which allowed me to hang out with almost anyone I wanted. Jamaica has a population of 2.9 million people, and it was even less than. After watching in total how this country took such a massive model tally, I decided to approach their coaches and find out how they did it. They were so friendly and keen to engage and share their approach to identifying and training young athletes. They told me Africa should be cleaning the board, and yet we hold less medals as a continent than Jamaica. If it were not for Kenya coming to the rescue, we would have nowhere to hide. But it need not be so. After we spoke, one of them asked me a question. Why don't more Africans come and talk to us like you just did? I had no answer. But then again, I did know the answer because I have observed it even in business. There are people who don't ever want to be seen trying to learn from those who have succeeded, even though it costs them nothing to do so. They would sooner hate and power scorn, spreading malicious rumors, than actually learn something from that person for themselves. Those are the guys who choose to throw away the meat and eat the bones. How strange is life? Anyway, I love you guys for wanting to learn something even from me. You are wise. Fearful people don't make successful entrepreneurs. When I'm working on something or I'm threatened, there is only one type of person I don't want anywhere near me, a fearful person. I don't mind a cautious person, but I try to get anyone I know to be fearful as far away from me as possible. I won't hate someone for being fearful because it can be a personality trait, but such person should always be kept away from anything that requires a risk. The most important capital is skill. Having a skill at something and being able to do it well is the most important step in having capital. If you know how to do people's hair, you always have an ability to earn money, which you can save up to do the thing you really want to do as an entrepreneur. So many young people leave university believing that their education equates to an actual workplace skill, when it actually does not. The education makes it easy for you to acquire skills quickly and keep learning. So many graduates look down on craft skills that could be useful ways to generate income. This is not wise in my view. When I left university, I had a degree in engineering, but the first thing I did was to get some engineering craft skills, which meant I could always fix something to make a bit of money on the side if I needed to. When I was 25, I could fix almost anything electrical or electronic. I also had mechanical skills and could use a machine called a lathe. I actually went to a local machine shop to learn how to use it. These days, I envy you guys because Getting basic skills is so much easier because of YouTube. It's all there if you know where to look. A friend of mine would always joke, as a child I used to polish shoes for pocket money, so I will never be without money in my pocket. It was so easy for me to leave my job because I never actually feared that I could starve. Advice I once gave to a pastor. A friend of mine was a very successful pastor with a huge church in Nigeria, which was full of young people. Brother Strive, what advice can you give me to make these young people more prosperous, either to start a business or to get a job or to get good jobs? My reply was simple and immediate. Open craft centers and teach them skills. This country, like all African countries, has a desperate shortage of craft skills like carpentry, building, electrical works, farming skills. In a few years, you would be churning out mechanics, electricians, technicians, hairdressers, and farmers, film producers, nurses, and so on. I continued, if you use your churches also as skill centers, you will transform your communities overnight. Look at the early church or the way missionaries entered our countries. It was always part of the playbook. It was probably not the answer he expected, but I am a practical guy. One of my nieces was never strong academically. One day her mother expressed her worry to me about her daughter's future. What does she like doing? I asked. Nothing. All they do is work on their hair and watch movies, she complained. Okay, let's get her into a training program for doing hair. Well, you know the story, right? Today she runs her own little hair salon. She owns a home and drives a nice car. She is not married but has 2 lovely kids. She will never starve, and yet we have graduates mopping at home, angry at the government has not given them a job. God gives something to multiply today. 0 times 100 is 0. What can you do with your hands? That is startup capital. Pause. Would you pay $100 for a coffee mug? One of my daughters bought me a coffee mug for $100. It looks just like any other mug that costs $5. So why pay $100? Well, this mug has a special innovation embedded in it that keeps coffee or tea at the same temperature for hours. And if you live in a cold country, you will know how cool that is. Every day in your business, think of how you can add a new innovation that helps you to make more money. Innovation can be associated with a product or service that you sell, or it can be associated with cutting costs, or it can be even marketing related. All this is about one thing: innovation plus marketing makes money. The rest is cost. What are you doing to make money? Either you are doing something to create a new innovation, or you are marketing an innovation, or you have finding ways to cut costs. What would you say to me if I asked you to tell me how you are making money? Answer: 1. On innovation, I am. On marketing, I am. On cost cutting and managing costs, I am. Answer these questions to yourself and be ready to give me an update when we meet. Peace.